Well, News 8 is your local election headquarters. An upset in the race for mayor of Rochester. Malik Evans earning the Democratic nomination after beating Mayor Lovely Warren by a large margin last night.
Let's get a look at the numbers. Evans earning over 12,000 votes in the primary. Mayor Warren just over 6,000. It is the first time Warren will be unseated since winning the race for mayor back in 2014. Erica Cost in studio with us this morning with more on Evans's big win over Mayor Warren. Erica, good morning.
Good morning, Mark, and our crews were at his watch party last night and say the energy was incredible, carrying throughout the night. Results trickled in just after 9 p.m. Evans showing an early lead and just soared from there. During his victory speech, he says he wants to focus on building bridges in the community, alluding to recent violence. The idea of building bridges, that's his campaign mantra, and part of that includes bridging divide. An example of this, he says, is a city where police officers are guardians and not warriors.
Tonight is the true beginning of our journey together to put Rochester in the upper echelon of U.S. cities where it belongs. That we ensure that our streets are safe and that we stop the bloodshed that we have seen over the last 6 months.
In that speech, Evans also mentions goals to raise home ownership rates and increase median income. In the studio, Erica Cost, News 8.
Erica, thank you again. With this victory, Evans securing the Democratic nomination for mayor. Election day is November 2nd.
Well, meanwhile, Mayor Warren reacting to her first loss since becoming mayor in 2014.
Warren congratulating Malik Evans for a great campaign and said he will have her support. At her camp last night, the mayor thanked her supporters during what she called one of the most challenging years of her life.
No matter what comes your way, you will never, ever give up. You don't quit. You don't walk away. Challenges will come. I want every child of our city to know trouble don't last always. It don't last always.
Mayor Lovely Warren there. A reminder, absentee ballots will be counted in 1 week. Find a full list of the primary results on our website at rochesterfirst.com. Elsewhere, a hearing will continue today for the Brighton man who is accused of killing his wife nearly 40 years ago. Prosecutors claim James Krauseneck killed his wife with an axe back in 1982. They are looking to give sufficient reason to prosecute Krauseneck some 39 years after the alleged crime. We will follow the hearing over the next several days on the air and online.
Webster police are searching for a suspect after a carjacking Monday. Police responding to Savers on Ridge Road just before 4 p.m. Monday for the report of a man stealing keys from a woman and trying to steal her car. Officers say that attempt was unsuccessful, but the suspect went on to another woman in the parking lot, punching her, threatening to kill her, and forcibly stealing her vehicle, then driving off. If you have any information about this, you're being asked to call 911.
Well, many across Monroe County still cleaning up after that big storm on Monday. Thousands of power outages were reported across the county, although this morning that number is essentially down to 0. Downed trees and power lines also reported. Some folks in Parenton say it could cost thousands to remove and repair what the storm left in its wake.
I have a tree guy coming to give me an estimate on finishing the job that should have been finished by the crew that was hired by RG&E. And then, we're going to think about whether we can continue to have these trees out here. We might have to take them all down.
Well, RG&E says over 15,000 people lost power in Monroe, Ontario, and Wayne counties as a result of that storm.
A cool start to this Wednesday morning. Hot coffee in the heated seat this morning. That's what I used.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, those storms is what ushered in all this cold air. So we're still sort of kind of feeling the residual effects, I guess, of that system. 46 degrees in Rochester. That's one of the coldest spots in the region right now. Dansville at 50, 53 in Buffalo, Penn Yan at 52 degrees. If we're thinking about getting an 18 in, maybe your Wednesday afternoon golf league, I think it's a perfect day for a round. Sunscreen worthy. UV, as the UV is high. One of those days where it feels on the cooler side, but UV still as strong as ever. So make sure you protect yourself as we enjoy the beautiful afternoon. We've got one of the last few bus stop forecasts at the end of the show. Mark.
All right, James. Yeah, let's go get some birdies today. I like it.
Yes.
Our sunrise traffic, a look over Rochester at this hour. Again, 390, 490, and 590. All on time. Should be a smooth ride in as you head out the door.
Well, with a 50-50 vote, Republicans blocking the voting rights bill. We've been talking about this. Democrats say this is not the end of their fight, though.
Joined again this morning by Washington correspondent Basil John, live in Washington, D.C. Basil, good morning. So what are Democratic leaders in the Senate saying now that the bill has been blocked?
Well, Mark, Leah, good morning. And yes, well, Democrats and the Democratic leader, Senator excuse me, I was about to say Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, they had stated that they are disappointed with this turnout. They were expecting to get some Republicans on their side once they were able to hear what Democrats had to say. But they're saying that, as you said, this is not the end of their fight. They're going to focus now on trying to look at what they can do on the local level. One of those things that they can look towards is actually relying on the judicial system, relying on the court systems in order to go and repeal back some of the rules that were put in place by those state legislatures in different parts of the country, but that could be a very long and slow process, so that might not even be something where realistically they could see a result before the next election day comes around. The other option that is available is that Democrats will possibly pursue trying to get rid of that filibuster, but as we have already known from many discussions, Senator Joe Manchin is not the biggest fan, and neither is Senator Sinema is the biggest fan of getting rid of the filibuster.
All right, Basil, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Well, when it comes to a federal infrastructure bill, a bipartisan group of lawmakers still working out the details on a $1.2 trillion package.
Let's get a look at our Family First segment now this morning. How did you sleep last night?
Not so great.
Numerous studies highlighting the importance of that good night's sleep.
Yeah, listen to this. The latest from Harvard, tracking thousands of people over the age of 65 for 8 years. Dr. Alice Hoagland, director of the Insomnia Clinic at Rochester Regional Sleep Center, says researchers found people who had difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep had a greater risk of dementia or death.
The increased risk for the development of dementia during that 8-year period of time was roughly ballpark 40 to 50%. And the increased risk for all-cause mortality was roughly 50 to 80%. When we go to sleep, our brains do this really interesting clearing mechanism where it eliminates some toxins in your brain that we know are associated with the development of Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia.
Dr. Hoagland says if you're having trouble sleeping on a regular basis, it's important to see your doctor. Experts recommend healthy adults get between 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Now, coming up in our Family First segment Friday, we are going to share some tips with you to help you and your family get a good night's sleep.
All right, let's get a look at the GRE Morning Business Report now. Facebook adding the audio space world to its friends list. The social media giant unveiling a suite of live audio rooms and podcasts yesterday. Public figures and select Facebook groups can create live audio rooms where users can listen and join live conversations about topics that they are interested in, similar to Clubhouse.
Well, Delta has plans to hire 1,000 pilots by next summer. The airliner says the action comes as domestic travel rebounds to pre-pandemic levels this month. Last year, Delta cutting more than 1,800 pilots through early retirement and putting about 1,700 junior pilots on inactive status. Earlier this year, the carrier said it planned to have all of its pilots who were placed on inactive status back to work by the fall.
All right, AT&T study out analyzing Google Trends, finding which words were the most misspelled across the country. Quarantine was the most prevalent in a dozen states. The common misspelling, corn-teen. The word favorite was the second most searched nationwide, followed by, this one won't surprise you, coronavirus.
Wow, okay, quarantine, that's surprising though. Well, listen to this. How much would it take for you to quit social media? According to a new survey from Reboot Foundation, 1 in 5 respondents would require $1 million to say goodbye to social media. 40% would give up cars, TVs, and even pets before logging off their preferred platform. 70% of social media users would not drop their accounts for less than $10,000.
Yeah, one response there. Make me an offer.
Absolutely.
All right, here's what folks might be talking about at the water cooler. All right, warm up the vocal cords. Billy Joel is coming to Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park in August. This performance was originally scheduled for last summer. It'll be at full capacity. Remaining tickets go on sale Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Tickets purchased for the original date last year will be honored for the upcoming show.
I saw him when I was at Syracuse University in the Carrier Dome. What a show. Yeah. What a talented man. He can play the piano like behind his back and does it all.
Yeah, he's a little bit good at the piano, isn't he?
Right, and he's a performer as well, right?
And the lyrics are amazing, the stories to his songs.
Right.
Yeah. All right, we like the story in the weather world.
Yeah, there you go. Kind of rounding out the year, right? These kids are either taking their Regents exams or the finals, doing those last few projects, or maybe spending a little bit of extra time outside during recess. Bus stop forecast. We've got a beautiful one for you. Highs in the low 70s.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for watching News 8 at Sunrise.
We're hitting the horn on this newscast. That's it for us. CBS This Morning is up next. Have a great day.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.